This is our last week, spending our last day in the apocalypse, my friends. We've laughed, we've cried, and now it's over. The only apocalypse we can enjoy now is the one we call life. Also giving a spoiler warning for The Last of Us. I'm going to talk about The Last of Us finale. I'm going to talk about everything that happens. And basically, if you haven't watched The Last of Us series, this might not be the YouTube video you want to watch or click on. I'm not going to stop you if you want to stick around. I mean, algorithm the shit out of it. I'm just saying. You've been warned. Now, where this episode started out, how it opened up, I'll get to in a second. Funny thing for me is I was like, this is the shortest episode of the entire series. Just kind of, that's amusing to me. It's like season finale, shortest episode. But I guess it is pretty straightforward. Joel and Ellie, they're walking, they're making small talk. Joel's acting like the cool uncle, like, hey, how you doing? Ellie, Chef Boyardee, you hungry? You seem a little blue right now because you just smashed a cannibal's face in with a big blade who was going to eat you. And hey, better Chef Boyardee than you. It's all kind of awkward, but they get to the facility in which Joel is told, hey, by the way, just like the game, it actually plays out very accurate, where it's like, yeah, we gotta kill her in order to get this cure. So you take off now, Joel. We got this. And I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised with the body count that Joel racked up in there. I mean, body count's not everything, but there were moments in this show where I was like, I could have had more enemies. Well, they could have had more enemies. I had more enemies in the game than they had on screen, unless it's a big wave of those clickers that were coming out of the ground. Other than that, this show, quite often, I was like, that should have been more. There should have been more enemies. So I was a little afraid for the scene where Joel goes to this hospital. I'm like, I need blood. I need slaughter. I need Joel to be Terminator from T1 when he was going through the police station with some really downer, somber music. Oh, wow, look at that. It's pretty much what I got. So I really like that. Could have gone for more bricks bludgeoning heads. Shocked that that never happened in this show. That's such a main weapon in the game. Oh, well. I did like this shot after Joel kills the doctor and he's like, all right, unhook her right now. When he's leaving with Ellie, there is that after shot of the dead doctor on the ground, because that's pretty much what kicks off The Last of Us 2. So yeah, Joel's told, by the way, Ellie's going to die. We have to rip this cure from her brain. Too bad, so sad. And Joel was like, not today. Everyone dies. And he gets Ellie. The show ends exactly where it left off in the game. Now, in the beginning of this episode, Ashley Johnson, it's a flashback. Ashley Johnson plays Ellie's mom. But you gotta love the poetry there. It's the actor who played Ellie playing Ellie's mom, giving birth to Ellie. This is the first time that I saw the reason behind Ellie being immune, which was her mom, while she was pregnant with Ellie, was bitten, and then she gave birth to Ellie, and now Ellie's immune. The implication being baby bump plus bite equals immune baby, which does change the logistics of it a little bit. It takes Ellie from being this anomaly. It's like, we don't know how, but she is immune, so there's that. Two, there's a formula to someone being immune. Skipping past the fact that we're dealing with the Fireflies, a really fucked up organization that if they knew the formula and the roadmap that leads to someone being immune, they definitely would have recreated those conditions, or at least tried to. I'm just saying. But it does hit differently seeing the roadmap that led to Ellie's immunity, rather than being like, Ellie has a genetic anomaly and she's immune, and that's all I need to know. For me, a world like The Last of Us thrives on fear and uncertainty and not knowing how Ellie's immune, only that she is immune. I like that better. As much as I felt this show hammered home the drama, like when it wanted you to feel, you felt. When it wanted you to get the, the knot in your throat, it would get you there. I do wish it balanced action with the drama a little more. Maybe that's the advantage of a game. It's like, oh, for gameplay purposes, you're going to have more action. And that's why the game is just the way to go. But at a point, it felt like, oh, the infected are gone. We're not dealing with infected anymore, which does happen to a degree in the game, but infected were always around in the game. For the show, it goes out of its way to break down the lore of if you step on one of these nerve endings in the ground, all the infected within a mile or whatever, they'll know where you are. That's a pretty intricate mechanic that you see in this one episode. And after that, it's just never seen again. It does make it feel like, oh, we really need this cure from Ellie. It's like, cure from what? Cure from the thing we haven't seen for half the show? As much as I've enjoyed it, though, it is proof positive that a really good narrative-based, story-driven action game will never have an adaptation that's better than the game. I said this in a video before. I think it was one of the Resident Evil adaptations where I said video games have become so cinematic, games like The Last of Us, for example, that they fulfill that cinematic need that an adaptation would have done before, but now games just do for themselves. Only difference is the game has gameplay, which is another level of immersion that helps draw you into the world that a live action adaptation just can't have. And that to me is the case with The Last of Us. It was a great adaptation, but the source material still does it best. But in terms of adaptation, I thought the show did really well. I kind of see the show as The Last of Us for your parents or other people who just don't play games. I say parents because that's my natural inclination. My parents don't game. My dad plays the living shit out of Tetris, but that is it. So I'm saying, like, for people who haven't touched a game since they felt the real tragedy of making it through Bowser's Castle, and they're like, oh god, he throws axes too. Then they never touched a game since, but the story of The Last of Us is still good and you feel like they should experience it. Now there's a series for you to show them. So in the end, the series of The Last of Us, I thought it was really good. I've enjoyed watching it weekly. I've enjoyed doing videos on it weekly. I don't envy the task of adapting too. Whew. All right, so The Last of Us, the finale, the series, all of it. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? That was phrased weird. Why would you watch the finale without watching the series? The implication is there. Whatever, moving past it, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.